Y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. Y'all, I gotta show you what's going on. I have a little furry felon co-pilot. We are on the way to the vet to get a little checkup, but I'll tell you about all that. But y'all go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. So little Miss Daisy and I are on the way to the vet because I don't want to get too personal, but she has had a persistent bladder infection and y'all, when I say persistent, I mean we have been battling this thing for years. Like, we'll get it under control and take her off her antibiotics and it'll come back. Then we get it under control, take her off her antibiotics and it'll come back. Well, the doctor finally figured out she thinks that little Miss Thing has an infection not in like the urine or whatever, but in her actual bladder wall. So now we have her on a different antibiotic. So we did that, got that taken care of. Now she's been off of antibiotics for a little minute. So we're going back to check and make sure the infection's not back. So I know that's way more than y'all ever wanted to know about my dog's little private business, but I gotta tell y'all something funny that happened before we get to what we're getting to. So this poor little creature has been on antibiotics off and on for years. And if we decide that it is in fact this bladder wall infection that's going on with her, she's going to have to be on antibiotics off and on probably maybe the rest of her life just to keep it under control. So I asked the doctor, because you know, we ladies know things. I said, you know, being on antibiotics like that, is that likely to cause other issues? Because of course antibiotics don't pick and choose what they kill, they just kill everything. So she said, yeah, it might cause some issues. So we went ahead then and put her on a probiotic. And the doctor said, well, if we're going to do that, let's do it right. And we'll rotate. So we'll put her on different probiotics, like alternate probiotics, because different ones do different things. So we started off with one, and I just sprinkle it on her food in the morning, and Bob's her uncle, everything's good. So first one's fine. Well, the second one, I sprinkle it on her food, and apparently it tastes so good that the other furry felon decides he's going to eat his sister's food. So now, when she's on the first probiotic, it's fine. So I alternate them by day. One's in a pink box and one's in a brown box. So the pink box one, Bo's fine, doesn't try to eat Daisy's food. But in the brown box one, y'all, I had to go black market and buy extra supplies of this stuff so that on the days that she takes that, I can give it to him too, so that he will let her eat her food. I swear unto goodness, I cannot live with these dogs. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're running to the vet to hopefully have a good report and decide moving forward what we're gonna do with this poor little old lady dog and her, lady business. Anyway, how y'all doing? What's going on in y'all's world? So when last we met, I was in crisis because my indoor refrigerator was breaking down and we had to use the outdoor refrigerator to refrigerate our things. Well, looks like the indoor refrigerator is going to be working now. Let me close this. I feel like I'm in a big old bright spotlight. So now we got room to put food. Now I feel like I'm in the dark. Y'all, I cannot win with, let me finish this up and get off here. So now I got space for food because it looks like the indoor fridge is actually going to survive. So now we got to get some food. And I don't want to do a grocery haul because y'all, we've hauled groceries and we've talked about the groceries that we need. Here's what I want to do. I want to talk about meal prep. I almost said food prepping. I'm not a prepper. I want to talk about meal prepping. Like, we've talked about like our must-haves, but what can we do to prepare things ahead of time so that come mealtime or just come eating time in general, it's easier? Because y'all, let me tell you what, I know it's silly, but being off of my routine with having to use the outside garage instead of the inside garage, and I say that hyperbolically, like it wasn't a big deal to have to walk the extra 15 paces or whatever to get to the outside garage, but I had trouble finding things. I didn't know what food we had. it was just hard. It was hard to plan things because I was completely out of my routine using that other, I almost said other garage, that's not right. Using that other refrigerator. Did I say outside garage? Have I been saying garage the whole time? I meant refrigerator. I don't know what I'm thinking. This whole dog in the car thing has me all outside my head. But my having to use the garage refrigerator where my food was disorganized, I couldn't plan things, I couldn't look in and see what I had to know what I wanted to make for dinner or what I needed to get or what I needed to thaw out, just threw me completely off. I didn't have an awful week, but it was just more stressful than it needed to be. Y'all, last night, so Tuesday night was Halloween, so instead of Taco Tuesday, we did Taco Wednesday last night. It was horrible. The torts were stale. The cheese, bless his heart, the intern smelled the cheese and he's like, does this smell bad to you? I was like, look, if you don't like it, don't eat it. Like I was fed up. Through no fault of his own, he wasn't doing nothing wrong. He just didn't want to eat stinky cheese. And y'all, bless his heart, that sweet man was so put off by my reaction. He ate stinky cheese on his tacos. So that really sort of caused me to be like, all right, you got to get yourself right. You can't be feeding your man stinky cheese. So I'm gonna take this dog to the vet. We're going to get home and then we're going to do some meal planning and meal prepping. Like we're going to figure out what we're going to make and then we're going to make sure that we have the things on hand to make it easier to be prepared when it's time to make those things. So y'all, let me get off of here. Let me deal with this animal and I'll see y'all back at the house. All right, y'all, we're home. Daisy was so good at the vet. Bo is here and will not leave my side, acting like I left him for a week or something. Y'all, it was literally an hour. But anyway, we're home. I got groceries. Y'all, I got a lot of stuff. I went a little bit outside my head, but that's okay because we're going to talk about meal prepping. And not really even meal prepping, just more meal planning. And let me go ahead and say, much like I think I kept saying using the outside garage instead of outside refrigerator, I am most likely going to say lesson planning instead of meal planning. Y'all, I don't mean lesson planning, but I'm a teacher. I've been lesson planning for 20 years. So if I say lesson planning, just convert it to meal planning in your mind and let's just move on. So let's talk about meal planning. For me, meal planning is really about having stuff on hand and prepared so that when we decide what we want to have for a meal, it's here and we can get it ready. And I know y'all are like, dude, that's what meal planning is. Here's what I mean. I watch videos all the time about people like meal prepping where they get those cute little bowls and they like divide up their rice and they divide up their veggies and they divide up their protein and make it all like all ready for the week. I can't do that. For one thing, I can't think that way. And I don't know, that's just not how we operate. Well, let me back up. There's one thing I do that way, and that's breakfast. So I have, and I kind of eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day, but for breakfast, I do really kind of meal prep. And what I do, y'all have seen this before, but what I do is I take little containers and I put 2 tablespoons of just plain oats in it with 1 tablespoon of monk fruit sweetener, about 2 tablespoons of plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and a little bit of vanilla. I mix that up and I stick those in the fridge. And then in a separate container, I put some frozen fruit. And I let that thaw on the counter for a while and then stick that in the fridge. So in my fridge, at any given time, I have 3 bowls of thawed out frozen fruit. And I don't know what, y'all, I don't know why the numbers are what they are, but I have 5 or 6 of the little overnight oat kind of things with the yogurt and the oats, and then 3 of the fruits. So in the morning when it's time for breakfast, I take my fruit bowl, I pour the yogurt with the oats in it in there, and then I mix in some more yogurt, mix that up and eat it. And I have that with fresh fruit and half a cup of Cheerios and half a cup of plain unsweet almond milk. And y'all, I know that's a lot. I eat a big old breakfast, and we're not here to talk about diet. We're not here to talk about what I eat in a day, but I'm going to tell you, I eat that much for breakfast just about every day. And even when I'm not hungry, I eat that much, and partially or probably mostly because it's a whole ton of protein and it fills me up. So I know that even if I think I'm not hungry, when it's time for breakfast, I'm going to be hungry. So if I go ahead and get that protein in me, that it keeps me from getting hungry and keeps me from getting peckish and snacking. So and honestly, y'all, I just know that's breakfast, so I eat it for breakfast. So that's really the one like traditional meal prep thing that I do, is I make those little things of yogurt and oats and my bowls of frozen fruit for my breakfast every morning. And because I have all of those things of the oats and the yogurt, I can go a couple of days without replenishing it and then do a couple at a time. But anyway, so that's my like actual meal prepping thing. But other than that, let me show y'all what I got. So I went to Sam's and Walmart. And at Sam's, I got some big old meats. I got pork chops. And I went with the big old thick boneless pork chops. Can y'all see these? I got boneless pork chops. I got hamburger. Now, y'all go ahead and judge me. I got 90% lean. This was supposed to be 90% lean. They got me 88% lean. But anyway, I got 88% lean. Typically, I would get like the really lean, like 96% lean or whatever it is. It's like the leany lean ground beef. But a couple of things. One, the intern really likes a little bit of fat in his meat, and I eat so lean that every once in a while I really do need a little bit of fat. So this is fine for me. So I got a whole bunch of ground beef. This is almost 5 pounds. This is 4.81 pounds of ground beef. So we got that. I got myself some turkey. The intern, he might taste this. Like if I make something really, really tasty with it, he might take a bite of it and be like, oh, that's good. You want some more? No, thank you. But he'll take that no thank you bite sometimes, depending on what I'm making. But I got 99% lean ground turkey. And I got the chickens, the pre-packaged chicken breast these are from Sam's. So y'all, here's what I do with my meats. And again, I think this counts as meal prep because I feel like preparing like your main course or whatever it is that you're going to be making for your meals so that you can make good choices and that it's easy for you to grab and go when it's actual like meal preparing time. The things that you do ahead of time to make that easy for you so you can make good choices, that's meal prep, y'all. So for the pork chops, these are for the intern. So what I'll do is I will take this big package of pork chops and I'll break them down into single serving size containers. So I'll take a Ziploc bag and put probably 2 pork chops per bag. Now, sometimes he'll only want 1 pork chop, and these are such that if I freeze them side by side, I can just snap them and just take out 1 pork chop and thaw it and leave the other one in the freezer. So I'm careful when I put them in the freezer. And y'all, everybody might do this. Y'all might be like, duh, dude, that's called freezing meat. Okay, like you might all know this, you might not. I'm just trying to be helpful. So I try to freeze them side by side so that if I need to snap them apart, I'm not like, you know, trying to be all Atlas breaking stuff, trying to get the meats apart so that I can just take the part that I want. So the pork chops, I will sort of pare off and freeze that way. And again, I don't eat these. Not that I don't like pork. That's just a lot of food for me. And these are dinner. And y'all, I'm old, and you've heard me say this before, I can't get a big old belly full of food and then go to bed. And I'm up at the latest, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some mornings I'm up at 3 or 2, depending on when my classes are. So I can't be going to bed and like tossing and turning until midnight because I got a big old belly of pork. And the intern is perfectly happy eating these, getting his belly full, watching some TV, and then going to bed. So these are for the intern. So I freeze them in intern size servings. So that's the pork chops. The hamburger, I will do similarly, but I'm going to break it down into 2 different size containers, sort of. I'm still going to do it in Ziploc bags, but I'll do 1 pound bags and half pound bags because I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to want to make with these. And sometimes, like, let's say I'm making tacos, which I feel like I owe the intern some good tacos because y'all remember the stinky cheese tacos. So if I'm making tacos just for the intern, I'll want half a pound of hamburger. But if I'm going to make a thing of tacos for both of us, I'll want a whole pound. So I'm going to break it down and do maybe a couple of 1 pound things and then do the rest in half pounds and mark them accordingly, even though I can probably eyeball a pound versus a half pound. But I say that now, and then come time I grab a ball of meat out of the fridge and I'm like, what is this? And I'm not going to want to drag the scale out, which y'all, don't judge us for having this scale. I bust the intern for having this scale. I say he's a drug dealer and that's why he has this scale, which is not true. And I'm certain I'm going to get dinged on the YouTubes for saying drug dealer in my video, but... And I do give him the business about being a drug dealer, which he's not. He never was. But he has the scale because he used to, how can I say this? He used to make things with, fermenting things with sugar, if you know what I mean. And when you do that, you have to be very precise with the weighing of the sugar and the yeast, if you know what I mean. So he used this scale for that. Well, I've long since kidnapped his scale and made it a kitchen scale. So I use it to weigh my meat, to weigh, especially like for Weight Watchers. There's lots of stuff that when you're counting your points, you can be really precise if you can get weights on it versus like numbers of things. So yeah, I call it the intern's drug scale. I use the intern scale for that all the time. But anyway, so I'm going to weigh out this meat into 1 pound or 1/2 pound blobs o hamburger. And then the chicken, y'all, let me show you this. I'm sorry that it's going to be a bit rattly, but if you've had Sam's Club or Costco chicken before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But when you pull this apart, you have to be really careful with this gooey bit that sticks it together because it can tear the plastic. And then so they're kind of like self-contained little 1 pound containers of chicken. But if you tear your plastic, then your 1 pound container is no longer self-contained. And they're perforated along one side, but you have to cut them along the other side. So, and I know you're like, how is that hard? Trust me. Please just trust me and be careful. And I vacillate on whether I should freeze it and then cut it or cut it and then freeze it. I don't know. I know I'm making way too big of a deal about this, but y'all just be careful with your chicken is all I'm saying. So I think that's it for the raw meat. The turkey, the 1 pound of turkey usually doesn't even make it long enough in my house to get any kind of like stored. Like I make this within a day or two of getting it. And I eat 1/2 pound of turkey at a time. Y'all know this. I will brown it. And I wish they had the mashed cauliflower. They did not. They were out. So I can't show you my mashed cauliflower. But I will brown 1/2 pound of turkey and 1/2 of a container of the mashed cauliflower with some corn. And that's dinner for me on a night where either the intern is having Taco Tuesday with his buddies or something, or I'll throw a pork chop in the air fryer for the intern, feed him pork chops with those Bob Evans single-size serving mac and cheese or mashed potatoes. And that's dinner for both of us. We're both happy. And I have my Weight Watchers friendly dinner. He has his Weight Watchers not friendly dinner. And it's all good. It's all easy. But so again, where I was going with that was I generally don't even store this. It goes in the fridge and I eat it within a couple of days. So that's not even nothing to mess with. Snacks. This is going to be rattly. I'm sorry. Y'all know I love these. So this is the Tyson already made grill and ready chicken. And often I will just, you can see I've already busted this open. I was snacking. Shameless. But often I'll just stick these in the fridge. Sometimes I'll break it down and freeze half of it. But y'all, and this freaks me out so bad, and I know this should make me stop eating this stuff. The best buy date on this chicken product is August 28th of 2024. What can you do to chicken to make it last that long? I don't even know. I don't want to think about it. But I feel like it just makes me feel better to freeze some of it, like to think that it's not going to survive that long. But often I will go through these bags of chicken, like I just keep them in the fridge and snack on them. Or like if I'm having a salad or something and I'm too lazy to make tuna, which y'all, that's a lot of lazy. I'll just have some of this chicken with my salad, like for the protein with the salad. But I'll go through a bag of this in no time, unless I have a package of imitation crab meat. And y'all know how shamelessly I love and snack on imitation crab meat. Now, Weight Watchers friends, the chicken, of course, is 0 points. Imitation crab meat is not. This is like 1 point per ounce. And same thing, I snack on this. I will roll it up in a whatever. I will roll it up in a tortilla, some kind of egg life wrap. But this has a Best By date of January 10th. But y'all, I don't know if it was this kind or some other kind, but it also had a little note on it, and I can't find it right now, but that said use within like, I don't know, 4 days of opening or something. So you got a while until you break the seal. So what I do is I bust this up and freeze some of them. It doesn't freeze awesomely well, but it's okay. The chicken freezes fine. Something else that freezes fine is, I think I finished talking about that. So these I just snack on. Lunch meat. So this is lunch for me, air day, y'all. I keep turkey and ham in the fridge, and when they're on sale, I buy multiples and freeze them. They freeze just fine, so then once one starts getting low, I pull the other one out of the freezer, let it thaw, and Bob's your uncle, we got lunch. I also keep bread. This, y'all know how I love the 45 calorie per slice breads. They don't always have these at Sam's, but when they do, they're generally a good deal. So I got 2, I'll freeze one and have sandwiches. What else haven't we talked about? Y'all saw this, I got tortillas because ours the other day were crunchy. Again, I will keep these around, and you know what let's do? Let's make some taco seasoning, because I know you can buy those little packages at the store and it's easy and it's whatever. I don't really trust what's in those, and I feel like a lot of times it's a lot of sodium. So I make my own taco seasoning, and I'm getting low on it. And y'all, that is one of my easy, quickie go-to meals is taco stuff. Like thaw some chicken breasts, throw them in the crock pot, throw in some taco seasoning, let it cook, shred it up, you got chicken tacos. Or just plain old taco. I say plain old tacos like hamburger. Are hamburger tacos the standard? Like to me, that's the standard. That's like a plain old taco. Brown some, like this 88% lean, like just a little bit of fat hamburger, perfect for tacos. Brown some hamburger meat, throw in some taco seasoning. Now I've got tomatoes, because I got my Roma tomatoes. I keep these on hand just because they're easy, and I'll use them in salads. I'll use them on sandwiches. I will chop them up for tacos, like whatever's going on. They're cheap and easy. Y'all don't judge me. I just cracked myself up. They're cheap and easy, and I think I mentioned, if you saw, I don't know what video it was, but if I buy big tomatoes, that's too much of a commitment, y'all. I can't do that, and somehow they always go bad in my fridge. I can never make myself use those, but I'll go through these in a couple of days. So back to the tacos. Chicken in the crock pot or brown some hamburger meat. I'll show you the little jar that I keep. It's like an old salsa jar that I keep. I just mix my taco seasoning in that and shake it in whatever I'm making, and we have tacos, and the intern will always eat tacos. Now, if I make it with turkey, which sometimes I make turkey tacos for myself and hamburger tacos for him, if I make tacos out of turkey, he won't eat that. But if I make hamburger tacos, he will always eat that. So, I have tortillas. I might have already put it up, but I got cheese that doesn't smell like feet for the intern. And I got big old buckets of Pace picante sauce. Pace, that's made in New York City. This was at Sam's, so I got the biggies because I'll eat this on lots of things. It's 0 points. So that's good, and I've got the like regular size jars, so I'll clean that out once it gets empty. Pour some from the jug in the jar, leave the jug in the outside fridge, put the jar in the inside fridge where it's more manageable and I feel more like a human using it. And that's that. So I think that's all I wanted to show y'all. Let me get this all put up. I know what let's do. I'm gonna put this up. I'm gonna do a quick workout, because of course I am. And then I'm gonna just show y'all how I make my taco seasoning, because I don't want this video to be terribly long, and I'm not sure how long it's going after you spent the afternoon in the car with Daisy and me. So let me get this put up, let me do a quick workout, and then we'll make some taco seasoning and we'll call it a day. All right, so y'all sit tight, I'll be right back. Oh, all right, y'all, that's done. I don't know why I'm so tired. Maybe it's dealing with these dogs, taking Daisy out in the actual, like, 3D world. I don't know how you people with human children do it. These fur babies wear me out. So I went ahead, look at me, I'm all outside my head. I went ahead and made my taco seasoning. Let me tell you what I did. I did I quadrupled the recipe. But here's the actual recipe. It's 1 tablespoon chili powder, 1.5 teaspoons ground cumin, 1 teaspoon sea salt, 1 teaspoon ground black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon ground paprika, 1/4 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon crushed red pepper flakes, and 1/4 teaspoon dried oregano. And y'all, I leave out the red pepper flakes because I figure we're gonna just add salsa to whatever it is we're making anyway. And sometimes we like it spicy and sometimes we like it not spicy. So I just leave the spicy out of the mix and we spicy up our food once we make it. So that's it. Like I said, I quadrupled the recipe. And that's what's in this little salsa jar. So I just stick this in my cabinet, and then when we want something taco-y, I use this. So that's it. And I think for dinner, I'm gonna, well, let me check with the intern. He might already be tacoed out from the week, but maybe I'll make some tacos for dinner. So y'all, that's it. That is my meal planning. So really what it is dividing up like the meat course of the meal. And then from that, I do like, I don't know, rice and black beans, generally rice and black beans for me, or that mushed cauliflower that we talked about. I'll do that for me. And for the intern, I will do those single-sized servings of, I keep wanting to call it Evan Williams. I'm not sure if that's right. Bob Evans. If I called it Evan Williams before, isn't Evan Williams a paint? I don't know what Evan Williams is. Anyway, single-sized servings of Bob Evans mashed potatoes or macaroni and cheese for the intern. So the meat that I've got now that I've got in my freezer, and then those side dishes, and y'all, that's meal planning for us. Let me know what you do for meal planning. Do you do like the whole elaborate? Are you one of the cool kids that does those like divided up meal plans into like the different sectioned dishes? I so wish I was that cool. Anyway, let us know in the chat what you do. Do you do those things? Do you just buy the big old buckets of stuff at Sam's and put it in different baggies like I do and stick it in the freezer till you're ready for it? Tell us what your meal planning looks like. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you made it this far, we are definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos at the beginning of every week with some book videos sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.